Everybody, it's Brian. I'm here with a really cool new transmitter. This is actually from India. This is from RC Bazaar. It's the RCB7X. This is a 7-channel transmitter with a few interesting features for sure. Looking at it just overall, it looks very similar to the Spectrum DX7. The switch layout is very similar. It's got same type of buttons on the front, which I'll go over in just a minute. And overall, same kind of feel. But there are a few things about this transmitter that are unusual. And the first I'm going to talk about is the receiver. This is the Avionic R7, a 7-channel receiver. And as you can see on it, there's 2 antennae on it. And you think, okay, well that's like lots of receivers have 2 antennas, except that one is for the master and the other is for slave. That's right, this will receive from 2 transmitters at the same time. So if you're buddy boxing, you don't need to connect the 2. You just need to bind the one antenna essentially to the master and then the slave to the student's box. And you do that really easily. There's a button on the side here. There's 2 buttons, one for the master and one for the slave. Another really cool thing is this little dongle here, which plugs directly into the receiver, as you just saw. This is a simulator adapter, which allows you to use the transmitter as to control any of your favorite simulators wirelessly. So you don't have to have a cable going to your TV or your computer. So really cool feature right there. So let's go and have a closer look at the menus on the transmitter and see how it functions. First thing we're going to do is go into the system menu, and we do that by turning it on while holding on to the access buttons. That's the select and the scroll right here. So do that, turn it on, and we get into essentially the system menu. So the first screen in this is the model select. So this just lets you go through, and if you want to select a different model, you just flip through and select whatever model that is. So I don't have any models programmed in here yet, but you can see you can be an Acro or a Heli, and there's looks like 7 models that you can store in here. If you want to go to the next menu, click it down, and this is what allows you to name your models. So you can use whatever letters and just program it through. Looks like it has uppercase, lowercase, and select moves forward, clear will move back, or clear that letter, and so on and so forth. Pretty straightforward. Go down to the next one. This lets you select what type of model it is. There's 2 Acro or Heli, Acro being fixed wing and Heli being helicopter. Nothing special there. Model reset. If you want to reset all the data, there's an integrated timer and so forth that'll let you reset. I've never used that function, but some people might want to have that information. So, okay, so the next one is the throttle recovery, and this is a function for gas or nitro models, which allows you to have a throttle cutoff. So if you move your throttle all the way down, it won't cut the model off, and then you can have a button to push, and it'll cut to shut the engine down versus having all the way down being at idle. I'm not a gasser guy, so I wouldn't use that. I'm just electric. Okay, this is the mode select. This lets you select between the different modes. So I'm in mode 2 right now. You can move mode 1, mode 4, and mode 3 even. And you'd have to, depending on how you set it up, you might want to move the spring over. There's some screws on the backside which lets you adjust that. And we did throttle recovery, channel assignment. Now this is cool because you can have any of the inputs set up to any of the outputs. So you could actually have a switch go to the aileron or whatnot. So channel 1 is aileron, 2 is elevator. But if you needed to, for whatever reason, move them around, you can do that. So this is the trainer function that we talked about before, and this is the wireless trainer. And so what this lets you do, of course, is have the 2 radios connect to the one receiver, and this is the way that is set up. So this is the input select screen, and what this does is it lets you assign switches for the aux2 flap and gear. So you can use whatever switches you want. There's a gear switch and a flap switch, but you can get it to be whatever of the switches that you want. So that's a nice function as well if you don't like the way that the switches are set up. Wing type, this is nice if you've got a Delta model or you want flaperons or V-tail or Delta, you can do that. So that's done on this one here. You can just turn them off and on with here, and if you've got a flapper on, obviously, and turn that on, it knows that it's a delta, not a delta, so it's going to get rid of that. And same thing if you go down to delta, turn that on, and the other two disappear. So it's a bit intelligent that way. Dual rate switch select, you can mix it up for whatever dual rates you want. Common aileron, common elevator, common rudder, flap, and or just turn it off. So that's what that switch is for. Battery type. This is for the battery in the radio. Right now I've got it set for dry type, like an alkaline, 8 cells, and then graphic display. And I'll show you the graphic display once we get there. And then back around. The next thing we can do is go to the regular menu. Alright, so this is the menu that comes on when you've got the model. It shows model 1. I've named it K, so it have the name there. But as you remember, I was just flipping through. It shows you the frame rate and the stopwatch timer. And if you want to get out of there, you push the access buttons again. That's the down and select. And it goes through. So now we've got the dual rates and expo. We can adjust those. Aileron, rudder, elevator. And this is the expo screen and the dual rates. Very standard type of setup. If you've used any kind of computer radio, you'll be very familiar with this. Channel reversing, so if you want to reverse any of the channels, that's done here. Sub trim is done just like on most models. You can set the 0 point on any of your things. Same thing with the travel adjust on any of your channels. There's an elevator to flap mix, so if you have incorporating some kind of flap, you can mix in the elevator to make sure that there's no pitch coupling with the activation of the flaps. Aileron to rudder mix. This is nice, and this lets you mix in rudder with the input of aileron. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to use a regular mix or have to fiddle around with it. So it's nice to just have this built in. And if you're a new flyer, I'd actually recommend putting an aileron to rudder mix. Most people don't tend to use enough rudder while they're flying. Flap system. This is pretty straightforward. You got 3 position flaps, and then you can program how far the flaps go down, and then also your elevator position. So that's in addition to the flap mix that they've got earlier on. Okay, so this is the throttle idle, which allows you to use a throttle hold, and you can do this on a fixed wing model as well, and just sets the idle position for that. You just flip the switch would be the rudder dual rates in this, which is the switch in the top right, and that would, by flipping that, would turn the throttle to 0. It doesn't matter what position the throttle stick is in. Program mix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's 6 programming mixes that you can do any one channel to another channel and switchable off and on. That's in addition to the flap mix and the aileron to rudder mix. So lots of mixing, lots of options on this 7-channel radio. Timer, you can use a stopwatch, a down timer, and that's pretty much it. Let's see, what the switch can we have? Switch, throttle. Okay, this is nice. If you do a stopwatch or even the timer, you can set it so that when you apply the throttle, the timer already starts to go. Really, really nice feature. And so what I usually do on my models is do a down timer, set it to whatever, a minute, and then once it gets past 10%, the timer starts to go down. Really good. I like this feature very much. Here's your monitor, and it shows you what all of the channels are doing. And then back around to the beginning. So this is the Avionic RCB7X radio. This is a very compelling 7-channel radio with lots of functionality. I really like the wireless trainer capability as well as the wireless USB dongle that it has. There are a lot of programming options on this, 6 programmable functions that are user programmable, as well as a few that are already built in. I really like the throttle control timer and the ability to assign the channels however I want. So this is the RCB7X. This is available from RC Bazaar at rcbazaar.com. Thanks for watching.